Okay. Good evening and welcome to another episode of What the Heck Did DK Buy? And did he get completely toasted or hosed or however you want to refer to it? This is an Ampeg BA115. It's got a 15-inch speaker and a tweeter. It's a bass amplifier, obviously. It does have caster wheels that I have removed right now because the cups that the casters plug into on the bottom are kind of messed up. I could live with that. So anyway, I bought it and then I picked it up and realized that there's something rattling around inside of it. That's not ever a good thing. And the chassis is a little loose, not totally loose and falling out, but it's a little loose. We can fix that, I'm sure. And then on the back, the power cord here, the insulation where it goes in here, the outer insulation is messed. The cord itself seems fine. And then this style switch over here, this is bent. So gain, low, mid, high, master volume. CD in, there's a tuner. I guess we'll just plug it in and see if it goes kaboom. And as long as it doesn't explode, then we'll unravel the mysteries within and see what is rattling around inside of there. Because I kind of want to know, I think you want to know. And these amps in good working order are fairly popular and it should be a good piece. But sometimes you dig yourself a bigger grave than you're ready to deal with. Somebody had a little 1/4-inch Adaptama kit thing in there. Okay, so we'll put a cord in there so we can listen to it. And we'll plug it into electricity. And no sparks yet. And we'll turn the on switch in. And it turns on and the tuner just chased its little tail around. So we'll put the master at 2 and the gain at 2 and I think mute might be on maybe? Yeah, mute was on. Okay. So I have sound. That's a good start. And it's making some weird noises. So we'll deal with it now, but at least on the most rudimental function, it turns on. Okay, so the speaker grills Velcro on. So if you've got enough determination, you can get them out. The speaker has really long, well, not really long, but long enough bolts into probably peanuts or hurricane nuts behind there. So this isn't going to be like drywall screws in a fender. See as soon as I get the rest of these out. Okay, so if y'all were hoping for Jimmy Hoffa in there or something, no dice. These are the pieces that are like loose and messed up from the casters, and the other one's still kind of in there. But I think I might be able to use these to fix the casters, and if I can fix the casters, then I don't have to buy new ones. So, okay, so we're in. We got the chassis out. Put up a little bit of a fight, but not too much. So everything in here nothing looks burnt anyway, let's put it that way. Nothing looks burnt. It looks like with a big transformer like that. That's a linear power supply. So that's just fine. I'm going to clean all the pots in here, but I need to deal with this style switch being bent. Because it's not just a little bent, it's like bent. Like, that's significantly bent. And it bothers me. That brass pole is bent, and I'm not 100,000% sure how I'm going to straighten it, but I'm going to try to be very careful, because if I break that, I am double hosed. Okay, so here we are 2 minutes later, and it's significantly straighter than it was. It's not perfect, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. That's a really, really thin shaft for me to be messing around with, and we got it significantly straighter than it was. There was no technical magic here. It was just grabbing it with a pair of pliers and straightening it without trying to go overboard, because again, if you break it, a switch like that doesn't grow on trees, as do in any of these PC board amps. The pots don't grow on trees either, so it's not like they just, you know, they're just there waiting for you. So to do the pots on this, we'll probably have to flip it up over apple cart here, and we'll try to have to spray the cleaner in behind those and twist them a whole lot. Okay, now on the back of this, the insulation on the power cord has just been stressed too much, and there's about 1.25 inches of the outside insulation on here broken, and inside the amp the cable is not really shoved in there that far. So I'm almost debating, because it's already got crimped ends and everything else on it, I'm almost thinking that I should just remove the strain relief here, just slip this back another 1.5 inches so that there's no cracked insulation exposed, and then put it back. I don't see any risk in that. I mean, the wire inside is healthy. It's just we have some of it that's seen a little bit too much stress. Okay, so this is where the strain relief was. Here's where the issue lies. This is where I'm going to put it. And I'm sure somebody watching is going, I'll tell you where to put it. You ought to put a whole new cord on that thing. And it's like, well, that's a lot of effort, and this stuff is actually fine. The cord itself is really horrible. It's just that somebody mashed this up against the wall and only cracked the outer insulation, so it doesn't have the strain resistance on the wire just on that portion. And then we'll give that a squeeze and see if we can get that back in. I think there's a special tool for this. I've always just used the pliers. I'm sure some electrical engineer somewhere is going to be kind enough to post me the part number for the proper strain relief installer tool. And if it's affordable, be glad to buy one. Okay, that looks much better. So I should be able to wipe the rest of the dirt off of this chassis. I've got a couple of nicks in the paint. I'll touch those up. Mostly just cleaning the dirt off of it, and then we'll clean the dirt off the chassis and then see about fixing those wheels. Okay, so in regards to the wheels, these separated. This goes in there. Might take a little bit of brute force. Or from what I drive, these are just insert in there, and then these were peened over. By dropping this thing on its wheels a whole bunch of times or whacking it into things, eventually those peens just kind of came out. So I think if I take these out to the workbench and give them a few good love whacks, these will go back into service. We'll find out. Okay, so I came to the conclusion that I did try, but even after peening those over, I didn't like how they fit. So I figured if you fix crap, you still have crap. So I found some better ones, and they weren't that expensive, like $19 for a set of 4. So we're going to put those top hats on it, and the wheels should fit. We better check that the wheels fit. Now I have to figure out where I put the wheels. Okay, so yes, the wheels fit. Yay! Okay, so now we've got the wheels on it, and it sounds like it's starving for power. Yeah. So we have a permanent fuzz tone in there. That's definitely not good, so we're going to have to go back inside and figure out what's up. Okay, so this is early 2000s. Could this be filter caps? And it just went on me. It just gave me a little buzz. And I think it might have fixed itself. By turning it off and on a few times, it seems to have fixed itself. Yeah, it fixed itself, turning itself on and off a few times. But it's making a little bit of a humming noise. I'm thinking pretty much the filter caps in this are shot. That's what it sounds like. It definitely sounds power related. Alright, back to the coloring book. Okay, so I took the big heatsink off and flipped the board over here so I can look at it. I'm thinking filter caps. I'm going to pull these and test them. Our tester may or may not really do the job for it because it is kind of a big cap. But I was just looking around. The solder on this driver transistor looks like rubbish. I did poke through this while it was running with a stick. You know, I went through with a chopstick and poked all the stuff to see if I can make it rattle or pop. But the fuzzy signal symptom thing happens if the amp has been off for like a day. It's like the first time you turn it on that day, it does it. Once it starts doing it, it keeps doing it. And then if you shut it off and on a few times, it quits doing it. And then it doesn't do it anymore, probably until you shut it off for another day. How weird. Okay, so I don't know if you can read that. Our tester says it is 5651 microfarad and with an ESR of 0.01, voltage loss of 0.9%, so I would not call that a horribly failed cap. I should probably check the other one. This thing is not the definitive answer, but it gives you a good ballpark. Okay, so I've tested this other one like 3 times. It comes out at about 5590 microfarad, which is, you know, real close. Voltage loss, the worst I've seen was like 1.2. That's at 0.09 now. ESR of 0.03. I think the worst I saw was like 0.05. Okay, so those are back. I was thinking, you know, what else would make a farty power sound? And there is a thermal, I think that's a thermal resistor thing. You know, if that's not putting enough power in there, there's something choking juice to this, I'm pretty sure. So I've touched up any solder connections that look poopy, and we've tested those caps and they seem okay, so now I'm kind of frustrated. But I'm going to put it back together and check it again, and if it doesn't fail, then we'll try it tomorrow and see if it fails. I don't know if y'all can see that, but on this corner of the board there are 2 jumpers that stick up, and there was a washer on there. That is the ground point to the chassis. Even if that was loose or weird, we could have some weird behavior, so I'm going to make sure that's extra tight. Okay, so I put it back together. Here's what we found and didn't find. There might be a part 2 to this because, yeah, because of reasons. So after putting it back together, you know, before there was a little bit of a hum, not enough that you would be mad and, you know, say, oh goodness, we have to fix this amp, it's humming, but enough to go, well, it's kind of there. After reflowing some of those joints and checking the capacitors and reflowing all of that, this amp is silent without, you know, it's really, really quiet, so that's good. I did send a video clip to another technician that I like to consult with. I had him listen to it, and he said it sounded like it was half waving, okay? Meaning that obviously there's 4 transistors in there, but only half of the wave. So, you know, if a sine wave up and down, it was only getting the up or only getting the down, which would also kind of explain humming, because then the transistors would be unbalanced, and unbalanced equals hum. So it actually could have been one of those craptastic solder joints on the driver transistor, or it could be a poor connection inside of a transistor that needs to be replaced. So this is going to be kind of one of those where time's going to have to tell. So I'm going to tune up my bass and we'll do a little demo here. And then I will check it tomorrow and the day after and the day after, and we'll check this every day for a week and maybe give it a day off and check it 2-3 days later, whatever. But I'm going to have to keep this in the collection for a little while before we put it on sale, just to make sure that it is problem free. So let's just do a little demo and have it. Okay, so not sure, like I say, not sure how this is going to come through, because Bass Amp's recording with a crappy microphone, you never know. But I think we're doing good. Put a little more treble in here. I'll just turn the treble knob on the bass and it's got a nice voice. It really does have a lot of ability to thunder the room. And since the joints have been reflowed on that board, if I didn't tell you the amplifier was on and you didn't see the red light, you would think it was off. It really is operating that quiet, which is an improvement from before. But again, not ever owning one of these before or working on one of these before, you know, I kind of said to myself, well, it hisses a little bit. That's normal, you know, a little hiss, a little hum from an amplifier is normal. Significant hiss, significant hum is not normal, but a little bit, you know, where you have to, like, you know, if you're standing a foot away and you don't notice it, I don't worry about it. But if you're, you know, if it's like there present when you're in the room, it's annoying as heck, so I don't like to play ball with that. But it has gone absolutely quiet unless you're playing it, and when you do play it, it's plenty loud, so that makes me very happy. We're all good. Thanks for watching. There will be a part 2 if this decides to act up again. If we nailed it and it's good, then it's good. But I would prefer to error. It almost seems a little bit annoying to me. There's a radio technician on YouTube. His goes by Jim Lindeness, and he fixes old radios and he films the whole thing, like every thought process, whatever. So you can watch a radio being worked on for 5 hours if you like that. But one of his things, after he completes a repair on an antique radio, he puts it on the shelf for a month or 2 and then pulls it out again and tests it. And if it still works, great. He puts it back on the shelf for another month or 2 and then pulls it out and checks it again. Then he can give it back to the customer. So I don't know that I'm going to be that diligent, but I probably will, you know, leave this tested a few more times, and if we need to come back and do a part 2, we will. But at this point, it's working really good. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.